Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're going to break down something that most men never truly understand: the hidden psychological weaknesses that shape female attraction. You've probably seen it before. A confident, attractive woman who seems ultimately in control, yet somehow, there are certain men she can't resist. Why? Because attraction isn't just about looks or success. It's about understanding the emotions that drive her decisions. The truth is, every woman, no matter how independent or self-assured, has subconscious patterns that influence how she responds to men. Some men trigger deep attraction without even trying, while others, despite their best efforts, get ignored, friend-zoned, or treated as an option. However, once you recognize these 10 key psychological weaknesses, you'll stop second-guessing what works and start seeing actual results. You'll understand why some men are naturally pursued while others struggle, and more importantly, you'll learn how to shift the dynamic in your favor, without games, tricks, or chasing. So, if you're ready to unlock the deeper layers of female psychology and transform how women respond to you, stay with me until the end. Let's get started. 1. The craving for emotional escapism. Women are not drawn to men for their status, stability, or appearance alone. While these factors may hold some appeal, what truly captivates them is the emotional experience a man provides. They crave excitement, unpredictability, and a sense of adventure that takes them out of their routine. This explains why women often find themselves fascinated by mysterious men, those who challenge them intellectually and emotionally, and even the allure of forbidden or unconventional relationships. It's not the man himself, but how he makes her feel, that determines her level of attraction. Most men struggle in this area because they fall into a pattern of predictability. They send the same messages, use conversational tactics, and prioritize comfort over emotional stimulation. They agree with everything she says in an attempt to be likable, but in doing so they eliminate the natural tension that sparks attraction. A woman may appreciate a dependable man, but she rarely falls in love with one who is too safe, accommodating, or easy to read. Predictability does not create desire, it numbs it. The key to capturing a woman's emotions lies in creating contrast. A man who can make her feel a range of emotions, from intrigue to laughter to challenge, will hold her attention like a nice and predictable man never could. This doesn't mean being manipulative or playing games, but understanding the power of spontaneity and depth. He should challenge her perspectives instead of nodding in agreement, tell stories that pull her into a different world rather than engaging in surface-level small talk, and maintain a sense of mystery rather than laying everything out immediately. Women are drawn to men who make them feel alive. They don't consciously seek chaos, but they do crave emotional depth. The men who provide this, who create a dynamic experience rather than simply existing as another person in her life, become unforgettable. When a woman associates a man with an emotional whirlwind, she finds herself irresistibly drawn to him, often in ways she cannot logically explain. 2. The unspoken addiction to strong boundaries. Women are inherently drawn to men who establish clear boundaries, maintain their sense of self, and refuse to compromise their values for approval. While many men believe that being overly accommodating, endlessly agreeable, or constantly available will win a woman's affection, the reality is quite the opposite. A man who bends backward to please often finds himself overlooked, disrespected, or categorized as too nice. Attraction is not built on constant agreement, it thrives on contrast and respect. Women instinctively test men to gauge their strength, confidence, and emotional resilience. These tests aren't always conscious, but they serve a clear purpose: determining whether a man stands firm in his principles or crumbles under pressure. She may cancel plans at the last minute to see if he'll chase after her, push his buttons to provoke an emotional reaction, or try to dominate conversations to assess if he'll shrink back. A man who fails these subtle challenges by reacting emotionally, overcompensating, or seeking validation unknowingly diminishes his value in her eyes. The solution is simple yet powerful: stand firm. Saying no when necessary, prioritizing personal goals over constantly adjusting to her needs, and maintaining a strong frame all signal self-respect. Women are naturally drawn to men. They cannot easily manipulate because such men exude confidence and emotional stability. When a woman realizes she cannot control a man, she stops testing and starts respecting him. Respect, more than anything, is the foundation of lasting attraction. 3. The thrill of uncertainty. Attraction thrives in the unknown. The reason people binge-watch suspenseful TV shows, get lost in thrilling novels, or stay glued to the edge of their seats in a movie theater is simple: uncertainty. It keeps them hooked, invested, and craving more. Women experience attraction in much the same way. A relationship that is too predictable, where every move is expected, quickly loses appeal. Once a woman feels she has fully secured a man's attention and affection without any effort, the sense of excitement begins to fade. Many men unknowingly sabotage attraction by making themselves too readily available. They respond to messages instantly, removing any element of anticipation. They overexpress their emotions too soon, eliminating the mystery that intrigues her. They clear their schedule at the slightest request, making the relationship feel too easy and stripping away the challenge that fuels desire. Attraction isn't logical, it is emotional, and emotions are stirred by tension, not certainty. The key is to introduce a controlled level of uncertainty. This does not mean playing games or being manipulative, but understanding the psychology of desire. Letting moments of silence build anticipation rather than instantly responding creates space for her to wonder. Holding back from revealing every thought or feeling immediately makes interactions more engaging. A man who values his time and does not overextend himself becomes more intriguing because she feels the need to earn his presence. Validation should be given sparingly, making it more meaningful when received. Women crave a sense of challenge. A relationship where she feels a continuous sense of discovery keeps her engaged. The moment everything becomes too predictable, attraction wanes. When applied correctly, uncertainty is not about detachment, but about keeping the emotional experience alive. 4. The magnetic pull of leadership. Women are instinctively drawn to men who exude confidence and take the lead. This isn't about dominance or control, but about direction and decisiveness. A man who knows where he's going moves with certainty and makes decisions without hesitation instantly commands respect. Women don't fantasize about following uncertain, passive men who constantly seek validation. They crave leadership, strength, and the ability to trust that a man has things under control. Everyday interactions reveal this truth. A woman wants a man who can confidently plan a date rather than one who nervously asks, "What do you want to do?" She respects a man who expresses his opinions with conviction rather than one who changes his stance to avoid disagreement. Indecisiveness is a silent attraction killer, making a man appear weak, unsure of himself, and ultimately unappealing. Taking the lead doesn't mean ignoring her thoughts or feelings, but guiding the dynamic confidently. Instead of passively waiting for her input on plans, he should say, "We're going here. I think you'll love it." Instead of seeking constant approval, he should act with certainty, trusting his ability to make choices that enhance the experience for both. Women are naturally drawn to men who stand firm in their beliefs, don't hesitate to make decisions, and create a sense of security through their actions. Attraction is built on respect, and respect is earned through leadership. A man who can confidently take charge, without arrogance but with quiet assurance, becomes the kind of man a woman admires, trusts, and ultimately desires. 5. The desire for a man who doesn't need her. Women do not want to be the sole focus of a man's life, despite the common belief that showering them with constant attention and devotion will win their hearts. When a man abandons his ambitions, dreams, and personal growth to prioritize a woman above all else, he unwittingly diminishes his attractiveness. Women desire men who are driven, who have direction, and who are deeply engaged in their journey. They don't want to be a man's purpose, they want to be part of something greater. This is why men with purpose, high achievers, and those who pursue their goals relentlessly tend to be the most magnetic. A man fully engaged in his mission, whether building a business, excelling in his craft, or pursuing a passion, naturally exudes confidence and self-assurance. Women are drawn to this energy because it signals strength, ambition, and an ability to lead. On the other hand, when a woman senses that she is a man's only source of fulfillment, the attraction quickly fades. To maintain a woman's interest, a man must always keep his mission at the forefront of his life. He should never rearrange his plans, compromise his ambitions, or revolve his entire existence around her. A man who sticks to his schedule, who remains unpredictable and dedicated to his purpose, holds far more power in a relationship. Women admire and respect men who value themselves and their time. When a woman sees that a man does not need her to feel complete, she feels fortunate to be a part of his world. 6. Women are drawn to men who are selective. Women are naturally drawn to men who hold themselves to high standards and are selective in their choices. A man who does not accept just anyone carries a sense of value that women find intriguing. He is not desperate for attention, nor does he need constant validation. Instead, he moves purposefully, knowing that his attention should be earned, not freely given away. This elevates his status in a woman's mind, making her desire his approval even more. The mistake most men make is being too eager, showering a woman with compliments and giving her attention too quickly. While this may seem like a way to show interest, it often has the opposite effect. It diminishes a man's perceived value. Women instinctively want to be chosen by a man with options, someone whose approval feels meaningful. A man who chases any woman willing to give him a chance appears less desirable. If he overpraises her beauty or constantly seeks reassurance, he signals insecurity rather than confidence. The moment a woman senses desperation, she starts to lose interest. Actual attraction is built on a sense of challenge. A man who is selective forces a woman to put in effort to win his attention, making her investment in the relationship stronger. He doesn't give compliments just to please. Instead, he acknowledges qualities that genuinely impress him. This scarcity makes his validation feel valuable. He creates an unspoken competition by maintaining an air of mystery and not immediately making himself available. Women respect and pursue men who appear challenging to impress because it amplifies their sense of worth when they do. When a man sets the standard high, he naturally attracts women willing to rise to meet it. The dynamic shifts in his favor. Rather than seeking approval, he becomes the one who decides. This is the essence of true confidence, which keeps women captivated, even when they don't fully understand why. 7. Women are emotionally addicted to drama. Women often say they want a stable, dependable man, yet many are repeatedly drawn to relationships filled with emotional ups and downs. The thrill of uncertainty, the highs of passion, and even the lows of temporary distance create an intoxicating cycle that keeps them engaged. This is why breakups often lead to passionate reunions, and why some women struggle to leave relationships that seem unhealthy. It's not necessarily the person they can't let go of. It's the emotional experience tied to them. Men who are too predictable, always emotionally available, and never create tension, often struggle to maintain attraction. Stability is comforting, but it doesn't excite me. The relationship becomes monotonous when a man agrees with everything she says, always responds immediately, and never introduces moments of emotional contrast. Women crave variety, and when a relationship lacks emotional spikes, excitement, playful teasing, or even the occasional moment of distance, they begin to lose interest, even if they can't explain why. The solution isn't to be toxic or manipulative, but to understand the importance of emotional contrast. A man who is confident enough to challenge her, who isn't afraid to tease her playfully, and who doesn't always make himself overly available, creates an element of mystery and excitement. If she misbehaves or takes him for granted, pulling away slightly allows her to feel the difference and realize the value of his presence. It's about creating moments that make her feel alive, because women are drawn to men who provide an emotional experience, not just stability. When a man masters this balance, he becomes someone she can't stop thinking about. 8. Women are intrigued by men who are hard to read. Women are naturally drawn to mystery. When a man is too transparent, too eager to explain himself, or too predictable in his behavior, he loses an essential element of attraction: curiosity. If a woman can fully understand a man from the beginning, there's little left to explore. The excitement fades, and what once felt intriguing turns into something ordinary. Many men unknowingly make themselves too easy to read. They reveal every thought, every plan, and every feeling without hesitation. They try to reassure her constantly, thinking that openness will make her feel secure. They respond instantly to messages, always available at a moment's notice. While these behaviors seem like signs of a good partner, they diminish attraction. A woman doesn't want to know everything about a man immediately. She wants to uncover him over time. A man who understands this maintains a level of mystery. He doesn't overshare his emotions or his plans right away. He allows a woman to wonder, to question, to piece together who he is slowly. He doesn't act predictably in every situation. Sometimes he surprises, challenges, or makes her pause and think. His presence isn't always guaranteed, making her value it more when she does have it. Women chase what they can't fully grasp. The men who leave just enough unknown, who let a woman discover them layer by layer, hold a far greater appeal than those entirely transparent. A man who understands the power of subtlety and intrigue becomes someone she can't stop thinking about, someone whose presence lingers in her mind long after he's gone. 9. Women are attracted to men who can walk away. Women are instinctively drawn to men who know their worth and are unafraid to walk away from situations that don't serve them. It reflects confidence, self-respect, and an internal sense of value that doesn't depend on external validation. When a man is willing to leave if he is not treated well, he communicates without saying a word that he is not desperate for one woman's approval. This kind of emotional independence makes him more attractive, not less. Independence in a marriage is limited to marital independence, not Conversely, men who fear losing a woman often unknowingly surrender their power in relationships. They tolerate disrespect, overlook broken promises, and excuse poor behavior, hoping they can win her over by being understanding or patient. But in reality, this only diminishes their value in her eyes. Women may test boundaries unconsciously to see how much a man respects himself. A man who fails these tests by staying in situations undermining his dignity will gradually lose her admiration. The solution is simple, but requires strength. Always be willing to walk away. A man must have standards that he refuses to compromise, no matter how much he desires a woman. If she behaves in a way that disrespects him, flakes on commitments, or treats him as an option rather than a priority, his best response is not to argue or plead, but to distance himself. Stepping away rather than chasing shifts the power dynamic. Women do not long for men who are easily swayed by emotions. They crave men who are firm in their sense of self. Ironically, when a woman realizes a man is not afraid to lose her, she often desires him more. The reason is simple. Scarcity creates value. When a man is not easily replaceable, she instinctively wants to secure his attention and respect his presence. It is not about playing games or manipulating emotions, but about understanding a fundamental truth. A man who values himself will always be valued by others. 10. Women chase men who challenge them. Women are not drawn to men who make everything effortless. They are captivated by those who challenge them on a deeper level. A man who is too easy to win over, too agreeable, or too eager to please may initially seem like a safe choice, but he rarely sparks genuine passion. Actual attraction is not built on comfort alone. It thrives on emotional and intellectual stimulation. A woman must feel accomplished in gaining a man's attention and respect. She becomes more emotionally invested when she perceives that she must earn his affection rather than be handed to her unconditionally. One of the most prominent mistakes men make is being overly accommodating. They agree with everything she says, avoid debate to keep the peace, and hesitate to challenge her opinions. They seek her approval instead of making her work for theirs. This behavior might seem like a way to show kindness, but it diminishes their value in her eyes. If a woman never has to try to keep a man's interest, she subconsciously takes it for granted. The key to maintaining attraction is challenging her in a way that excites rather than frustrates her. This doesn't mean being combative or distant, but instead keeping interactions dynamic. A man should hold his own in conversations, disagree when he sees things differently, and introduce a playful sense of competition. Teasing, witty banter, and making her earn his compliments create a sense of unpredictability that keeps her engaged. More importantly, a man should have high standards. Not every woman can walk into his life effortlessly. When a woman feels she must meet a man's expectations, she values his approval more. If he is selective about who he gives his time and energy, she will instinctively want to prove herself worthy of his attention. This is the foundation of emotional investment, the realization that his respect and affection are not automatic but something to be earned. When a man embodies this mindset, he becomes the kind of challenge a woman cannot resist. Mastering these principles isn't about manipulation, but understanding human nature and reclaiming control over your dating life. Women are drawn to men who provide emotional experiences, set firm boundaries, maintain an air of mystery, lead confidently, and pursue a purpose beyond relationships. The moment you shift your focus from seeking validation to living with intention, everything changes. Women start chasing you instead of the other way around. Attraction isn't about looks or wealth alone. It's about how you make a woman feel. The more you challenge her, introduce unpredictability, and hold yourself to higher standards, the more invested she becomes. When a woman senses that she has to earn your time and attention, she values it far more. I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever noticed these dynamics in your relationships? Which of these principles have you experienced firsthand? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more content on attraction, psychology, and personal mastery. Stay focused, stay disciplined, and take control of your life. See you in the next one.